Hi, thanks for stopping by. So today I want to talk about the roses and how they can be used for healing and a little bit about their symbolism. So as far as the symbolism, we all really recognize, that they are a symbol of love, but also devotion. And also in the alchemical texts, the rose is a symbol of wisdom and perfection. There's just so much to the rose, and I have done some meditations with the rose, and we'll talk about that too. But first, I just want to show you a few things that I use. Some are very simple, and I use them on a daily basis, and some have a little deeper meaning to me, and I use them very more seldom, but in a very special way. So the first thing here is this is a simple rose water, and I do use this often. Most of you have seen this or something like it. This is Heritage brand. And it has just a subtle scent. You could use it on your face. It's very good for your skin or in your hair. And if you're sensitive to fragrances, as I am, this one won't. It does not bother me at all, even though I cannot wear most perfumes. But this is fine. It's very light, and it just gives you that little good feeling, that lift of the fragrance of the rose. So I also use teas. Now, when I'm using a rose tea, this to me is a ritual or something very special I'm doing. I don't often do it. I do it when I know, when I'm moved to do it, or when I'm looking to heal something specifically, or just, draw in that energy. So this is a prepared tea, which I will buy once in a while. It's unsweetened. It is green tea with rose. And the brand is Tea's Tea. And this is very nice for a prepared tea. And you'll see I just drink like a little bit at a time. And now another tea that I had got this, just along the way in my travels. And it comes in this beautiful container. And I'll show you what it is. It's really just rose buds and petals. And this is what they look like. I often keep a few of these on my altar as well. And when I go to make a tea out of them now, I personally just use the rose buds and make just a small amount of the tea. But you can mix it with green or black or white or whatever kind of tea that you like. It's fine to mix it as well. So, but when I'm making the tea, I do, I guess to be honest, I do approach it in a very sort of, an irreverent way, because the rose is such a powerful healer for us. And, I do want to talk about that too. So, well, as a matter of fact, let me just tell you now that I have mentioned in other videos that I will do meditations with different trees or plants, especially the strong allies that we have, and the rose is one that I have done. Now, I know people, sometimes people roll their eyes and they just think that's so crazy. So that's fine. You can roll your eyes. But I really feel that a lot of us now have matured past that, and we're on a part of our journey that now we can accept that we really are all connected, with nature. And everything in nature has a tone or a signature. And when you work or meditate with, whether it's a plant or an animal or a tree or a crystal or anything, you're just following that signature. You're following that tone. And that is how you're making the connection. And that is how you are really communicating with the various plants or animals or whatever it is. So that is my strong feeling about that. So when I have meditated with the rose, and when I do that, I will often just hold some of the buds in my hands and ask and make that connection. However, very important, when you're working with plants in that way, if you do want to do some connecting and meditations, it's very important to ask permission first. So you just take your time, and you ask, may I interact with you? If you're talking to, like I said, a rose or whatever. Now, you will get either an image or a feeling of a yes or a no. I've never received the no, because I think when you are really being honest about your intentions, you will get the yes. And as you meditate, I mean, let me just tell you my experiences with the rose. It's very interesting because she holds a little of the energy that the high priestess does in the tarot deck, where she's not just going to give you a lot of information at once. It's just a little bit at a time, and there is a secretive quality to the rose as well. My experience in working with her is that she's very strong and powerful and very majestic, very sensual, and healing as well. She seems to bring across the message that those who work with roses and know how to grow them really learn something about life, that they understand the difficulties and the beauty of life, because roses, not only do they hold the fragrance and the beauty, but they also have the thorns. Now, as I have thought about that, I think the thorns we can relate that to using our own discernment to protect ourselves. So, not everything is love and giddiness, but, we have to be grounded and we have to use our minds as well, like I said, for discernment. So we can use those metaphors from nature to understand ourselves better. Another thing is when I have worked with certain plants and trees, I do see that each holds a certain spirit, or you might say diva. And with the rose, what I have seen is that, I really don't have the word, so for lack of a better word, I'm going to say it's angelic. There's almost an angelic spirit about the rose, and it's very protective and very beautiful, and just kind of otherworldly. And, just telling you how I see it. So, very special in meditating with her. And now I do want to tell you about something else. Now this is something that I had experienced. I had done this years ago in my life. Now I had been going through a very difficult time in my life. I had been through, really, it was just a heartbreak. And I two things I believe is that, one, almost everything can be healed, and two is that we need to pull in generally a lot of different modalities, or at least a few different modalities for a healing. So I was doing several things to heal myself, but this is one thing that I did. And I had to heal this heartbreak, and I went to a florist and I bought one long stemmed rose, a nice plump one, beautiful rose. And I brought it home, I put it on my altar, and I lit some incense. Now, as I said, this is several years ago. And I sat there with the rose and the incense, and I guess I sort of poured my heart out, and then, did my best to receive some healing. Just allowed that heart chakra, my broken heart, to be healed. And then after that, shortly after that, I had dried the rose. And my intention at the time was, and is, as the healing came and a new love would come into my life, something that was more balanced, something that was true and aligned with me, more aligned with my energy. So when that love would come into my life, then then I would complete the ritual by burning the rose. So I do have it now. I have never completed the ritual yet. Here, I keep this on my altar, and this is a box that I keep it in. I'm going to show you what the rose looks like. Okay. Okay, so here it is. Now, there's a little piece of the stem, and let me just hold it this way. So, the rose is pretty much still intact there. And it does have just a tiny, tiny little bit of fragrance left to it. But this, this whole process holds a lot of meaning to me because, what I went through and learned and healed. And, that's a big deal. It was a big deal for me in my life. And I'm looking forward to the day when I will have that man come into my life and complete this process. But, the truth is that in that time that I have healed, I feel that I have come to know love in such a different way, and I have come to understand a true love, a loyal love, and a love that does align with me, even though it hasn't been in the form of a partner coming in. It has a lot to do, just with healing myself, and it also has a lot to do with working with nature, and communicating, with different parts of nature, whether it's the plant world or animals as well. And I have also had time to really cultivate some wonderful, deep friendships. So I do feel that if I wanted to burn that rose now, it would be fine because I've understood true love. But the romantic person in me just still wants to hold out for something else that hopefully will come along. So those are things that have really been so helpful and healing to me. And if you if you just want to work with the rose just a little bit here and there for a little lift for the day, that will work, I'm sure, as far as some fragrance or something like that. But if you want to work with her in a deeper way, when you ask permission, I know she'll have a lot of information and healing to give. So stay well, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye.